Yeah, they put their foot on our necks, but we let them, so what you expect? When the last time you picked up a book? When the last time you wrote your own check? Yeah, we all up on IG and Netflix, and the devil, he got you on chill. He's scrolling and trolling your life, you can't see he destroying, cause he got you still. It's your vision that he wanna steal, and your mission that he wanna kill. No condemning, I'm keeping it real. It's conviction I want you to feel. And I'm praying today that we wake up, and the mess that we made we can make up. It's because of a skin that they hate us, don't know what it's gonna take to shake us. Listen. And I'm not pacing, I'm just patient. They thought that I was moving slow, they didn't know I was waiting. Yeah, it's my season, it's my reason. I talk with God every day, I'm not into people pleasing. And forever I'm for God, and I just want you to know without him, life is hard. So get your heart right, get your house in order.
Hi, I'm Charcy Curtis. Some of you may know me as Sister Diva out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. This is the IM4GOD Movement podcast where we allow everyday people to tell their testimonies. Today I have a special guest, Kelvin Brooks. Thank you for coming. I'm going to give him a chance to explain who you are, how to get in contact with you, and all that good stuff before we get into these questions. So can you let the people know who you are and what you got going on?
Well, like you said, my name is Kelvin Brooks. I'm originally from Highway 82 down in Godwin.
Okay.
Been in Fayetteville now since 2004.
Okay.
I made this my home. People have welcomed me here and my family. Been married almost 25 years.
Okay.
4 kids and 1 baby grand.
Okay.
That's the life of me. I'm a community guy.
Okay.
I came from the community. I am the community. And I appreciate people. I can even go so far as to say I love people.
Okay.
And I'm a believer. I live on solution. And that's pretty much it. We'll get into the details later.
I thank you so much for fitting me in your schedule, and I thank you so much for what you're doing in the community with the kids, because, I mean, that's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
Yeah. And I know you was a barber, and you, what made you just, give it up, though?
It's a long story.
Just short. Just like,
I'll give you the short. It was just a calling.
Okay.
Pretty much. It was just a calling on it, just a culmination of things, but it wasn't something that I chose to do. Okay. I wasn't ready to do it. But when I answered the call, things just started falling into place, so I know it wasn't a mistake.
Okay, so you gave up barber to work with the kids, right?
Not just work with the kids, but just overall community.
Okay, community work.
And but I have a focus and a determined goal, and I wasn't going to be able to achieve that goal the way that I was working. The barbershop was not something that I could do half a day.
Right. That's
I was completely addicted to it. Yeah. And, eat it, slept it, I'm saying, all those types of things. And I miss it still. Just sitting here talking about it right now, my hands are itching. But it's something bigger than I am. Okay. And I've always joked with being the lab rat and the guinea pig, and this is just another one of those things.
Okay. Well, for those, we got all the information as to how to get in contact with you, so we ain't got to tell you to say all that. So we're going to get right into these questions.
Let's go.
Okay. How was it like for you growing up as a child?
So my mom, I got 4 brothers. My mom raised us all. For most of my early adulthood, my early life, I stayed right across the dirt road from my grandma. The church that I went to was just a little bit further than that. I had an aunt just a little bit further than that. So I grew up in a very close community, very rural. We were poor, but I didn't know. I didn't know how poor I was. I had a lot of family around me. And my brothers and I are very, very close. We were close then, we're still close now, and maybe that has something to do with that little house that we stayed in. And so that's what it was like for me. I never saw my mom do a lot of the things that I see people doing today. But she got in that booty, though. She didn't play no games. And so I grew up with that. I was artistic even at a younger age. I used to do homework by myself in the yard. I'm the middle child, so I got 2 older brothers, 2 younger brothers. They're 2 years apart from me. They're 1 year apart from each other, so I'm perfectly placed in the middle, and that's pretty much how it's been, the whole entire time. I could have a brother and a friend at the same time. So My childhood was great. I have nothing to complain about, and I have always had plenty of friends, starting with my brothers.
Okay. I joke with people all the time, like, well, not joking, but I feel like we need to get back to these beatings for these kids because these kids are out of control.
You just can't call it beatings.
Well, I mean, what you want to call it? I call it beatings.
Discipline.
Discipline. Yeah,
discipline.
You're right.
Yeah,
discipline. Beatings, discipline. Look, they need, because look how they out of control.
Some version of it. You know, kids are a chip off the old block. They really are. You start getting into these kids and you start learning.
I couldn't be a teacher. I could not.
We need to thank them every single day.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. But
day.
I mean, these kids are out of control.
Yeah.
They think that they can just run up on you like, and that don't think that's gonna happen. Like, really? What is that at? We never did.
Yeah. You got to establish those boundaries early.
Yeah. But some kids nowadays are really running the household. They are, and that's crazy.
You remember Biggie, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take you back. In 1994, when Ready to Die came out, and that Biggie had a line. He said, "Back in the days, our parents used to take care of us. Look at them now; they even freaking scared of us. Calling the city for help because they can't maintain. Damn things unchanged." So that's 1994, and here we are now, 2023, almost 2024. So that warning shot coming from him back then was completely ignored. And just think about it: if you were born in 1994, you're almost 30 years old now. Most likely have kids. So it's just a microcosm of what he spoke of. We see that now.
Yeah, it's sad. I think this generation off the chain. But anyway,
really is.
How important is relationships to you?
Extremely.
Okay.
Extremely important.
If the word "I" was a person or the word "we" was a person, which one would describe you best? And why?
We,
why?
Absolutely. I can't do anything by myself and don't want to.
I agree. I totally agree. These people, there's the I be like, listen, it's nice meeting you. Time to go, because it's only one I, it's I am, but you know, each is their own. Have you ever been in a dark place? And if so, how did you bring yourself out of it?
Definitely was in a dark place before.
Okay.
And at 24 years old, my mom had been sick for quite a long time, and they could not find out what was wrong with her. She was in and out of the hospital. And I lived in Greensboro. My brother and I lived together, nice bachelor pad, who was getting it in. I was feeling pretty good about myself, and I was engaged at the time to a long-time girlfriend, and thankfully we knew that it wasn't going to work, but that wasn't the dark place. The dark place came when I had to move home, and I had to take care of my mom, and I just didn't know which way was up. I couldn't figure it out. I lost my job, and I ended up in Fayetteville for the first time. That was my first time coming here, and it was very dark for me. I carried a gun in the car. I didn't know Fayetteville. I just knew the rumors. So it wasn't. I wasn't living how I envisioned myself, and the only thing that got me out of it, honestly and truly, was the fact that people had been through stuff way much worse than I had.
Right.
So I read books, and I was at the time reading a book called Kafir Boy, and Kafir in South Africa was another word for nigger. And so reading about what they went through and what those kids went through over there, I couldn't fathom it. Then just reading the history of what we've been through as a people.
Right.
I knew I was not born to be in the struggle.
Right.
And somebody had to be there for my mother, because she had been there for me. And things just kind of working out when I started opening up my eyes to what the possibilities were. And that's when I actually enrolled in barber school.
Okay. It's so funny because, I mean, it's sad how the generation now don't respect, like, the history of, like, Martin Luther King and all that stuff. I'm like, do you not know if he would have, do you know where you'd be right now? But they just, that's another story.
Yeah.
But anyways, what keeps you grounded?
For a long time, barbering kept me grounded.
Okay.
The slogan in our shop for a long time was, "We are everything that we are."
Okay.
So the joke was, we are the new church. So everybody that came in that door, you can relate to them at some way, shape, form, or fashion. So you couldn't get too high, get too low. And just the fact that, my wife is from New York, and I've been to New York, and they can have it. So what keeps me grounded is I didn't go through a lot of things that other people are getting through in my life, in my livelihood. I had a good foundation.
Okay. What is something you asked God for and you wish you could have been a little bit more specific about it?
That I would use my talents to the best of me, to the best of my ability. I have not yet done that, I don't think. I think I've got some ways to go. I do feel like I have another life ahead of me while I'm in the flesh. And I wish I would have prayed harder and been more specific to him about what I wanted to do.
Right.
And when it was time for me to leave out the barbershop and I started talking to him more, he provided the platform, and I jumped on it, and we've been rolling ever since.
Okay. How did you turn your pain into power?
You know, I've never been by myself, man. So I've always had somebody to go to.
Okay.
I've had somebody to talk to. I got a brother right above me and a brother right up under me. So I could be a little brother and a big brother at all times. So I could be vulnerable anytime I wanted to.
Oh.
And you got a little brother that's telling you, no, I look at you like this.
Right.
And then I got an older brother telling me like, bruh, like you got stuff that you just ain't, you playing with it. Like you got to do more. So when I would go to them with my pain, they would turn it into power.
Okay. And
I trust those brothers. So it just kind of just worked out in that regard. And then just working with people, you know what I'm saying? Just seeing them go through that. You can't get but so down if you're trying to help somebody else.
Right.
So, you don't have to ignore who you are. Just use who you are.
Yeah, I agree. So what would you tell that person out there that's, maybe going through something and say, they painful situation, how to turn it into power?
It's a cliche to say you're not alone, but you really aren't. Right. You really aren't alone, and allow yourself. Just allow yourself. Yeah. Allow yourself to feel that pain. Allow that pain to get in, and allow yourself to be vulnerable, and allow yourself the chance to pivot. The chance to move from this to something else and just see what happens.
And I'd like to say, it's best to just go through it and push through it and just know
go through it,
it's something bigger than you on the other side. You just got to believe and know. And you appreciate it at the end because it ain't always about you.
I'm telling you.
And
it ain't never
you
about
will constantly really see like, okay, that wasn't about me, that was about somebody else. And sometimes it might be about you to get your attention. But you should learn something behind it. Now, you don't make the same mistake. Yeah. You learn from it. But been there and do that. Yeah, definitely. And like I said, you're gonna have to, when walking with God, you're gonna have to go through something anyways. Yeah, it ain't easy. It's much. Matter of fact, it's something totally different. But that peace of mind He give you, is something special too. Yeah. What is something that you like for people to know about you that they don't know?
I believe in the afterlife.
Okay.
I already know what I want to do when I come back.
Okay.
And I believe that we're going through hell right here. It's a mind thing that if you feel like there's another degree of this and at the same time you believe in God, I need you to think a little harder. I don't look at God as a punishing God. But the platform is that we will always keep coming back to Him. And that will help us deal with what we're dealing with over here. And we keep trying to qualify for Him. And He already told us, you ain't got to qualify for me. I'll take you just as you are, as dirty as you are, as ragged as you are, as hoish, as thuggish, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could change one thing in your life, what would it be and why?
I'm gonna say this, but and this was my answer when we talked yesterday too. I haven't changed it. Okay. I wish it wasn't as patient with some people, because it has. When I'm patient with people too long, it starts to seep into to not make me feel good, and then I start trying to figure out how am I going to address what I knew to address, how I knew to address it in the very beginning, and I waited so patient that I've waited so patiently in the past that when I go back to that person, it's almost like, okay, why don't you just do that in the beginning, and not in a good way, put it that way.
Okay. We was talking to, and I was saying something about like, how people, the ones that not believers or don't, whether they come or going, that they look at some people like God. And you have to be careful because you have to check them people, let them know, like, no, I'm not God. Yeah. I work for God. Yeah, yeah. And you do too. You can too. And you just be a believer and get your own relationship with Him because they don't know. Yeah. And if you actually take that on and not check them and tell them, look, I'm not the one doing this.
You know what's funny? I came home Friday afternoon and I sat on the couch. My wife was still at work, so I sat in the den in her office and I told her, I said, I just learned 2 things about myself today. And she said, what is it? And I told her that was one of them, that my patience, that I get to choose how patient I want to be. Right. And the other thing that I learned is that I'm going to start choosing it more often. Right.
And that's good.
Because I let a lot of stuff slide. I let a lot of stuff slide sometimes, and it's not helping. Right. So I let it slide for grace, but it's not helping because some people don't understand that. Right. And I gotta be okay with people not understanding that and still do what I'm supposed to do regardless.
Because everybody not going to understand. And then sometimes it's not their time to, I like all them nuggets. You leave the nuggets, it's up to them to pick it up and do what they supposed to do. But you got to keep moving. You can't sit there and nurture and like, oh, I need you to eat it now. Like, no, you just leave
you can't
it.
feed it to them.
Yeah, like, and let it be there. Because, anybody got time for all that.
Because people know what food look like.
Yeah,
and they play dumb.
Yeah. And if you really handicap them by sitting there and telling them, oh, well, you know how to do this and just taste it. And no, it's somebody out there really looking for an answer, and you wasting your time trying to change somebody not even open for change.
There you go.
So I'm quick to say, if you ain't open for change, what are we talking for?
And I don't think some people are not capable of change.
You really think so? I would only say that for the ones that not want to change. If you're not open to it.
What I mean by that is they're not capable of change in the sense of they don't have value for what the change is.
Okay.
So they don't have. If you don't have value for what that change is, because you can't recognize it, then you're not capable.
But that means you're not open then.
Right. That's true. I agree with you.
So I say you have to be open for the change. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I was set in my ways. So until it took a certain thing to happen, and when it happened, it was like, okay, I need to change.
Yeah. And I think change is such a harsh word.
Yeah.
Like people take it like a punch in the face. I sometimes use gradual growth,
right?
But it's only in a setting where, like you said, they're ready.
Yeah,
you
gotta be
ready to grow now?
Yeah.
You ready to grow? Okay, let's grow from this.
Right.
Instead of saying let's change it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, just being open to it, it would change your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, you take in what you need, you leave out what you don't need.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? But you have to know, you have to be open for it. Because if you try to change somebody who's not even open for it, you're really wasting your time because they sit in their ways.
Absolutely.
And they're not going to change. And somebody else could use that. And you just wasted it on somebody that didn't even value what you just said. And it's and they look back and they're like, somebody just told me, yeah, I did. And you wasted my time when I told you that.
Exactly. Because they'll come back and tell you what you told them, right?
You be like, what the world? Like, you just not getting that? I told you that a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay.
The good thing about that, though, that open you up.
Yeah,
you can get all the way in there.
It do. What would you say is different about the old you versus the new you now?
I'm more responsible.
Okay.
Now I'm more serious about what it is, and I'm more direct about I know exactly what it requires for me to go I know it's required for me to get to where I'm going.
Okay.
And I'm willing to go through. Right now, I'm in love with the process of it. Just learning how to navigate. I never thought that I would even care to dig as deep as I will dig. If I get locked into one thing, I want to understand it completely. And I'm also different now where I allow people to let themselves be wrong. Just be wrong. You know what? I know what I need to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'll do it myself too. Or when I say do it myself, I'll go find another ingredient to make this happen because this one right here is not working.
Okay. What was that moment like when you realized God was real without a shadow of a doubt? I need one of them good testimonies.
So back in 2014, I had a surgery. And when I had the surgery, I was out for some months. Okay. I was in the barbershop, but I was out of it. I was, I was limping. I was cutting hair on the stool, And one day, somebody asked me how much I was worth. As a joke, like a child, a young person. Like, man, so how much you worth? And I was like, you know what? I'm not exactly sure. So for like a month, I just gathering all my stuff and trying to see just how much I had and that value. And although I had a lot of things around me, I had no value, right? I had no monetary value. The shop that I was in had value, but it didn't have value. I went through this period where it was just like a blank space. And I had a friend of mine, she kept coming to me and she kept like, you need to move, you need to come down here, you need to try this out. I think this is perfect for you. And I was like, girl, I ain't trying to hear that right now. You just don't know what I'm going through. And my wife at the time was living in Arizona, and she had just came back. And so we'd never been separated. It was just her job. But she had came back, and so it's almost like we got two houses in one, so we got all this stuff, and we're trying to figure out what we keep and what we don't want to keep. But it was a lot of things going on, and I knew that it was something for me to do. So I thought that it was time for me to reinvest in what I already had. And some just kept saying, well, but you've done that already. Like, what you gonna use to get invested in? You ain't got nothing. Like, how you gonna get this money to do this? Well, one night I got up about 2-3 o'clock in the morning to go to the bathroom, and I walked there, and I couldn't use it. Couldn't do anything. Like I couldn't do anything. Now, this is my first time sharing this story, but I don't mind sharing it now because it has a purpose. Over the course of about an hour of me being in the bathroom, I started losing feelings in my legs.
Okay.
And so I couldn't get myself off the seat. And so I finally just fell forward, and I opened up the door, and I pretty much just dragged myself back to the bed. Of course, my wife is asleep, and I'm laying, and I crawled back in the bed, and I was just sitting there thinking, like, okay, now God, this ain't how I envision things. Right? Like I don't, where you going with this, right? But I wasn't scared, and I just kept talking to myself, like I'm talking to him, and I'm talking to myself, and I'm like, okay, what you trying to say? What is this? But I kept waiting for it to go away too. So I still was kind of in that, like, maybe it's a cramp or whatever. But over the course of time, it progressively got worse. So it just kept going up my body. So I'm the person that gets my kids up every morning, gets everybody ready to get on the bus. My youngest daughter's in kindergarten. So her bus was the last one to come. And it stopped directly in front of the house. So I just kind of like told my wife, I said, hey, I need you to get up and go get the baby ready. And she did. She went and she got her ready, got the other daughter out. She came back in. I said, I think you need to call 911. She was like, well, I said, I can't move. And she's like, what do you mean you can't move? I said, I can't move. She walked over to me, she touched me. I told her, I said, I can't feel that. And so she's touching me all over the place, and she got to my face. I said, I can feel that, but I said, I can't feel anything else. And she was like, I said, just call 911. So when she called 911, they get there. I'm still chilling, like, I ain't even worried about it. They come upstairs. Now, having those people in your house already feels like a violation. They got the big stretchers. They put me on the stretcher. They take me down the stairs. They take me out the front door, and my youngest daughter's getting on the bus at the same time they put me in the back of the ambulance. That's when they got real, like, oh, snap. So then I heard the word stroke, and I was like, I ain't having no stroke. This ain't my life. And got me in the back of the ambulance, and they doing all the tests and everything like that. So I was paralyzed for about 7 hours. Couldn't do anything. And without going through all the things that they did to get my limbs back, to get my movements back, I don't remember nothing else. I just remember being in a hotel room. Being in a hospital bed. And this Asian doctor came in there, and he said, knocked on the door, he said, can I speak to you for a second? I said, yeah, you can. And he said, I just want to talk to you. And I said, all right. He said, we've done everything. We've run all these tests. We can't figure out why why this happened. He said, but are you stressed? Like, is there like a lot of things going on in your life? And I was like, I think so. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember him walking out. But I think I filled up a notepad about this thick, probably like 10 pages. Just writing, boom, 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 just writing. And I can't tell you what I wrote, but I do remember the conversation. And without telling you everything that he told me, I can tell you now, being in this position that I'm in right now, he was telling me then what was getting ready to pop off. Because everything I touched for the next 3 to 4 years, trying to get back on my feet, trying to be that barber, trying to go back to where it was, he would not let it happen. The turmoil that came with me selling the shop that I own, complete turmoil, lost friends, still not friends to this day. But I gave my all. Right. And I lost. I took a huge loss. And then going into the next spot, and it was all the pats on the back, and you're doing great, and I was still losing. Then I tried to do something else, and I lost that. Then I moved, and I lost that. And then I went over here, and that couldn't work out right. Then I did this right here, and it wasn't right. It didn't work. So he wouldn't let it work. And then I retired. I asked my wife for 6 months. I said, babe, can you just give me 6 months? I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do, but I know it's my time, and something's going to pop off. It actually took me 9. But in those 9 months, we never had an argument. We never struggled. We never went through nothing. Our one income. And once things started popping off with the group theory, and I learned, and I asked a lot of questions, a lot of dumb questions. Every answer was everything I asked for. Every question I asked, every piece of help that I got it. Now I'm still struggling in the sense of what I don't know. and I'm still learning how to be an executive director, and I'm learning how to do things that I've never done before. But I'm so in love with this process, and I thank him every day because now I don't have that stress. I had to stretch, but I don't have that stress. So the work got longer, but the stress shortened down, and that's how I know it's him because I couldn't plan it. I couldn't have planned this for nothing in the world.
Oh no.
So that's my testimony. He sat me down because I wouldn't be still.
Oh, he know how to do it now.
Yeah. So I know he could get that drastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he know how to do it. He know how to
listening
get
to what you said, I didn't go through
He
that.
know how to get your attention when
You know
you
what I'm
know,
saying?
like, wait a minute, hold up, time
so
out.
it- so-
you
so
have to
it
go
worked.
through all that to get my attention. But the funny thing is how he'll let you come back. And like basically release you and say, but now you're gonna speak what I say. Now you're gonna do things my way. I done let you do what you want to do for so long, and I done let you play and But now you're gonna do it my way or else.
And guess what? No matter how much that inkling I get to want to go back in there and cut that hair, I got to have another surgery. So he won't let on the same because the doctor said find you something else to do, and I didn't do it. But I had people telling me like, look, man, you got something else going on in your life, like you got a calling. So I've always had people pat me on my shoulder, pulling me to the side. Clients that weren't even mine. People that I never really knew that close, but to pull me out of the barbershop and tell me stuff like that. So I know I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and I know that I got a lot more that's out there to do, and I don't know what it's gonna look like doing it, but I'm here for it.
Well, I commend you. I mean, if anything I can help you with, I'm all for it. I'll change, and especially anything got to do with God, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
What's more important to you, loyalty or respect?
Respect.
Okay. What comes first to you, imagination or vision?
Vision.
Okay. What comes to your mind when you hear a person say you cannot love God and money? That's what comes to your mind.
That's what comes to my mind. I just start laughing. I laugh at it because it's like you don't know. You can't love God, and God puts you in a position to where it takes money, but He'll also provide.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like I'm seeing numbers that I've never seen before that used to frighten me, and it's not mine. It's just what I got to know, and so I'm pursuing numbers now because of what it takes to do what I got to do.
Right.
But who put me on this mission to do it?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, no, I've always been taken care of. Always been taken care of. When I wasn't cutting hair, I can name names of people who called me up and said, "Hey man, what's your cash app?"
Oh, that's good.
Seriously, I mean, like I was like, "Man, I'm good." Like, nah, man, something told me to just boom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like vacations, people have. I've never taken those, but I've had people offer me I've done more traveling with no income than I did my whole barbering career. So He'll find a way. He'll make a way to prepare you to be able to have the type of mentality to do what He's telling you to go do.
I agree, but see, it's just a tricky question I like throwing in. And my whole goal is just to make people think like, to me, you should not love money. You should like money, and money should be a tool. You should love God, and if God wants you to have it, He'll make it where you need to have whatever you need to have for whatever He wants you to do.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, the question is said, what when I say what comes to your mind, when you hear people say you cannot love God and money. Meaning, as far as like, I don't want you to say, I'm saying, this is my opinion. But it's no way, people answer the way they want to. But it's just to get people understand, like, you shouldn't be loving money. You should be loving God.
Yeah.
Money's a tool.
Yeah.
Like what it do, but the fact that you and God is a jealous God, why are you loving money?
Isn't that part of that problem that we have in society right now?
Oh, of course.
Especially even during the pandemic.
Of course.
And people were like, like barbers were raising prices, and I'm like, so 2019, y'all want talking like this? All of a sudden, people are hurting and don't have money, and now you feel. I'm not saying to get your worth.
Right.
I'm not saying that at all. But can we maintain this? And we can't. Some barbers will because they're professional. They've been doing this for so long. They can make it look and be worth it.
Right.
But I think we set the bar differently with money during the pandemic because it was so much flowing and throwing around, and people were getting it left and right and using it for all kinds of things. And I think we kind of got lost in the shuffle of it at some point. So and we started chasing that, and I think he gonna bring us all the way back.
Oh yeah,
you know?
But if you ain't got no relationship with him, I feel sorry for y'all. You got no relationship with God.
Yeah.
But you know, then that's the whole thing. Like I tell you all the time, you know, I'm for God. Basically, it's just basically get your own relationship with God. Get your own relationship with God.
Yeah.
Just get your own
He's off
relationship
the
with God.
chain, man.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I wouldn't change it for nothing in the world. I don't go back and forth with people that they different religions. I like, look, you do what work for you. I'm gonna do what I work for me. And hey, we'll see at the end who's gonna go. I know where I'm going. You know. But back to questions. What comes to your mind? What came to your mind when you first seen I'm for God? Like, what did it mean to you?
You know, it made me curious.
Okay.
And because it's so simple.
Right.
And like, honestly, why you? And that's why when I told you yesterday, I'm like, I see your stuff, and I'm like, it's a story behind that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So right back at you. I know you're supposed to be the one answering the questions, but how often do people stop you and say, "Hey, holler at me"? Like, what's good with this?
A lot. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
But I tell people all the time, you know, because I love to hear testimonies. That's what keeps me going with the brands, the testimony. It has nothing to do with the money, because if that was the case, I'd been shut it down. But because of the testimonies, it allows me to know, like, you doing what you're supposed to do. And as soon as every time I would want to give up, and then somebody come to me, like you said, and they be like, "Can I tell you my testimony?" Because people know I let it be known. I love testimonies. And and literally, I'd be like, first, you tell God thank you, because don't come to me because I ain't did it. And then we can, you know, continue on the conversation.
I'll admit, my younger self used to, when you hear people say my testimony, right? I would always be like, right? Like, what's behind it? And then
it's
you
different.
get older.
Yeah.
It's so much different.
Yeah.
And everybody's different.
Oh yeah.
And I believe all of them now. Like it's not for me to believe or not to believe.
Right.
I'd rather believe what people say is their testimony. And people are telling their testimony. They just call it something different. They call it, "This is my story."
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
you know,
that's because they don't know. Until they find out what it is.
They ain't sprinkled that part in.
Yeah, right,
They ain't sprinkled that God part
trust
in.
me, when they know without a shadow of a doubt who did it, they be telling the testimony. They won't tell no story. They be telling the testimony. Because I tell anybody, I got plenty of them that he done pulled me out of. And you be like, ain't no way you can. With God, you can. I mean, he just, like I tell people all the time, God has a way with dealing with each one of us. Some he gives scars, some he gives a flashback. Me, he give me flashbacks. The ones with the scars is not to say one is better than the other. It's just to say, to remind you what he brought you through.
You know, why we don't? What is missing with us as people that we make discussing and talk about him so difficult?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, I can talk about him all day. And to the point, people be like, "Oh Lord, here she go." You're right. Here I go, because I know why I'm here. I know who woke me up today. I know that he has to say today you live, today you die. So because I know he holds that kind of power, I'm gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna give him his glory and everything else. If you don't like it, then this is not for you. But you know, like I said, people, you gotta get there. I ain't always been there, but when, like I said, when he want to get your attention, he knows how to get your attention. But it has to start with being a believer, talking to him, building that relationship.
Yeah, I still think people they keep trying to they still think they have to have these requirements. And
that's the sad part. And that comes from the people that's teaching them that. It's so many false prophets and false this and false that that's telling people they gotta walk a certain way, talk a certain way, dress a certain way, and they gotta be in all these money lines and and you spend more money. That's all lies.
Yeah.
God is free time, and be a believer. Yeah. And once you understand that, things will work totally different. Don't worry about trying to clean up. Let him clean you up. And just watch how it's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take time, but you'll be able to look back at self and be like, I remember when I was doing XYZ, and now I'm doing XYZ. It's just a flashback that it remind you of the old you. You know what I'm saying? You can't do nothing but thank him.
Yeah, I told some kids one time that we almost got evicted one time, my wife and I, and the crazy part, we could fix the eviction, but we still would have been broke. And we were trying to move, so we got ourselves, okay, we're going to do this right here, and then we're going to move over here, you know. But we did this part correctly, but the part that we didn't control wasn't there. So the house that we were going to move into wasn't ready for 2 weeks, but we done paid what we had to pay here, and pretty much like, we out of here, peace, deuces.
Right.
And when you had nowhere to go. And we stayed with my brother. We stayed with my brother and his roommate in a 2-bedroom apartment. It didn't last a week. I mean, it didn't last 2 weeks. It was about a week. But it was my wife, my son, and my daughter. And my brother didn't hesitate. His roommate didn't hesitate. And so there was no reason for me to feel bad. Like, I felt bad because we were in a situation. I'm the man in the house, and this is my wife. My wife was at the time telling me all the things that we should have been doing, our finances, and I'm like, whatever, chick. Like, whatever. Yeah. When I first started cutting hair, my first 2 to 3 years, pretty much 2 out of the 3 days of the week, I stayed after work an extra hour, drank beer, smoked, and played Tom.
Oh, he's one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't go off here, and here. I did it right here, and then I went home. But I took full advantage. I took advantage of how cool she was, and I took advantage of what was there. I wasn't making a lot of money, so it was like kind of like a balance. And that's what your mind tells you, And when I share that stuff with people, it's not to brag on the fact that it didn't really dissipate. It didn't blow my family up. I tell them that because it's just the absolute truth. And I don't want people to think that I only use it for people when they're in the moment doing things they ain't supposed to do. I'm like, look, man, I'm going to tell you right now, I hear you. I hear everything you're saying. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to tell you what not to do, but I'm just saying this is how it ended for me. And what came on the other side of that was what should have happened. And wasn't nothing really bad. It just came home one day I couldn't get in. But I got in. And that's probably the lowest point I've been as probably a husband and as a father. So I'll never tell anybody I'm a good husband. I'll never tell anybody I'm a good father. Only my wife and my kids can say that. And it is what it is. Every marriage is completely different. I don't believe women are here to put here to be by themselves. But I do understand. You know what I'm saying? And so this is a different world. It's a different society than the one we think we grew up in anyway. And while we're working with these kids, they don't have any real sense of what's next. So they can't, when you say vision, they don't have that vision. They don't have that in front of them. So to make yourself vulnerable enough with the truth of your own life when you're sitting there talking to them, it opens them up to what the possibilities and opportunities are. And I think all those things that I went through are tools too, just like money. They're tools. And so, and I don't have to lie about it. You know what I'm saying? That's what kind of gives me like this. I it can't hurt me. You know what I mean? And so, but there are so many people who feel like they can't do that, and that's why they're struggling. So like I said, me and God, we just be talking. We just be saying stuff, and He knows me. He watching everything. He see everything you do. So it ain't like you can.
Hide nothing.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You might as well
give in.
Might as well give in.
That's the best thing I can tell you. Like, don't wait like I did. Go ahead and get a relationship with him now. Because, it'll change your life. Like, it's the peace of mind He give you. I can't stress it enough how it's a different feeling. And I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. And I look forward to even working with the girls, with you on the 15th man. And whatever. And I have a gift for you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I'm in the club.
And like I tell people, I like people to pray over their items before they put it on. I love to hear testimonies, whatever. But can you leave the people with something positive for you leave?
I'll say this. Whatever you're thinking that you should do, you can do, you want to do, then just bring them with you and go with it. Sometimes you got to go through. Oftentimes you got to go through it to get to it. And it's not about being perfect. The effort is though, and strive at it every single day. It's not about me. When you get to the point where you realize it's not completely about you,
right?
Then you can be open, you can be honest, you can be vulnerable. You can get it wrong until you get it right, and you ain't gonna know it's right until you get to that point. So just keep going. I don't care what you've done in the past. I don't care what they put on you. Own up to those mistakes, and just move. Just keep moving, man. Whatever you do, just keep on moving, and get by yourself sometime and just have those moments
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And rejoice silently your own way, you know, that you still here and you got a chance.
Yeah.
So just keep moving.
Well, thank you so much. And I
You're
definitely
very
have you back. And I thank y'all. Remember, it's no such thing as perfect. So just, you know, like I said, just get in there and just be a believer first. Get your relationship with God. And remember, I love you, but God loves you more. Until next time, like I said, you just never know who I'm going to have on here. Love y'all. See y'all next time.